Hello. Today we'll be dealing with the anatomy of the hepatoportal system. Hepato has to deal with the liver. The functions of the liver are to metabolize the products, are to digest the products. You see, all that we eat, all that goes into us has to be broken up into simpler substances. Some of the substances that we eat are needed for our body. They are needed to produce the energy, they are needed to build the structure, and some of the things that we eat, some of the things that we drink are harmful to the body. Now the liver has to deal with all this. The liver has to deal with all the substances that are necessary for the body, that are helpful in building the body, that are helpful in providing energy for the body, and also it has to deal with substances that are toxic to the body, that are poisonous to the body. Those substances that are poisonous to the body will be destroyed by the liver. Those substances that are necessary for the body will also be broken up into smaller fragments that can be used by the cells. Large molecules of sugar, large molecules of mucopolysaccharides, large molecules of proteins cannot be used by the cells in the body. They have to be broken up into simpler substances and used. Similarly, things that are toxic to the body have to be broken up into smaller substances and sent to the kidney and to the sweat glands to be excreted, to be sent out of the body. Okay, so the liver helps in all this, and some of the substances it will just send go back into the gallbladder, and from the gallbladder they will go out into the biliary system and they will be excreted into the gastrointestinal tract along with the necessary enzymes for digestion and so on, and these substances will be excreted out. They will go out along with the feces. So to do these functions, the liver is set up in a very strategic position. We'll deal with the structure of the liver as we go on. Now the liver has certain types of cells. The liver is situated in the abdomen in the right upper quadrant, just under the diaphragm. Okay, in the right upper quadrant of the abdomen, right just under the diaphragm. So actually, anterior and posterior to the liver, you will find the ribs. You will find the rib cage, which is protecting the liver, and the diaphragm is like a dome. The liver fits into the dome so that quite a bit of it is in what you think is the chest. Okay, but it's in the chest, but it is not in the thoracic cavity. It is in the abdominal cavity. Okay, now here we see to the left of this diagram, imagine the stomach, or to the right of this picture, imagine the stomach. The stomach leads into the duodenum, first part of the duodenum, the second part of the duodenum, the third part and the fourth part of the duodenum. And there you will find the common bile duct entering into the second part of the duodenum. Okay, the common bile duct. The common bile duct is actually a big duct which is made up of two smaller ducts, which are the common hepatic duct and the cystic duct. The cystic duct drains the gallbladder, the common hepatic duct drains the right and left hepatic ducts, and all the other small ducts from all the lobes of the liver which drain into them. Okay, so all the substances go down through the common bile duct. Where it enters the duodenum, where it excretes all its substance into the gastrointestinal tract, which is in the duodenum, that point of entry is called the ampulla of Vater, or the major papilla. There it is joined by the pancreatic duct also. The pancreatic duct and the common bile duct excrete all the substances or all their secretions into the gastrointestinal tract there. Okay. So now, cystic ducts and the hepatic duct. The right hepatic duct and the left hepatic duct come together to form the common hepatic duct. The common hepatic duct plus the cystic duct which drains the gallbladder, form the common bile duct. So all the bile that is secreted by the gallbladder, by the liver, come down through the common hepatic duct. Some of it goes and stays in the cystic duct, and the others occupy the common bile duct. When you eat food, all this starts flowing down. When you eat fatty food, the gallbladder will contract, and all its secretions will go into the common, will join the secretions of the common hepatic duct and come into the common bile duct. And there, along with the pancreatic secretions, they will enter into the duodenum and then pass their way to mix with the food, to help digest the food, to help in food absorption, and the rest will get excreted out. You will find that some of the bile contents come out with the feces, and that is what gives the feces the yellow or the brownish yellow color. Okay, some of the bile pigments will also be absorbed into the bloodstream, and then they will be absorbed by the kidneys and excreted also. Okay, that gives the urine the yellow color. Okay. Now, here we are talking about the enterohepatic circulation of bile salts and bile pigments. Okay, the hepatocytes, they secrete the bile salts. Okay, what happens is, through the terminal ileum, when whatever we eat travels through the gut, goes to the ileum, gets absorbed from the jejunum, the ileum, the stomach and all that, and then goes through the veins into the portal system. I'll deal with in detail about the portal system later. Now, the portal system is a circulatory system. It takes the blood from all the veins, and then it cannot take it right to the heart, because if it goes to the heart, then from there it will get pumped to different parts of the body and it will be very toxic. It all has to be detoxified in the liver. So you have what is called the portal vein. Okay, I'll tell you the difference between the systemic circulation and the portal circulation and the pulmonary circulation a little later. Today we'll be dealing with the systemic, very little with the systemic, and a great deal about the portal circulation. The portal circulation does not take the blood directly back to the heart. The systemic circulation, the veins, take the blood directly back to the heart, but the veins of the portal circulation take it to another organ along the way. In this case, it takes it to the liver. From the liver, it will join the systemic circulation. So the portal veins, that is the celiac vein, the superior mesenteric vein, the inferior mesenteric vein, which are the veins of the foregut, midgut and hindgut, will take all the blood draining from them with all that they have absorbed from the intestine and with all the carbon dioxide and all directly into the hepatic portal system. The hepatic portal system will then take all this blood will go right through the liver, collect all, give up its all the toxic substances and all the substances that are needed for digestion. Take only the already digested and absorbed particles right into the hepatic veins, which will drain into the inferior vena cava, which will go into the systemic system. And then all this will be taken to the different organs in the body, including the brain. If the portal system did not exist, blood will go directly from the intestine into the systemic circulation, and they will destroy the brain. Okay, so that is why a portal system is needed to take all the blood, have it detoxified in the liver, and then taken into the systemic circulation through the hepatic veins. Okay, all the substances that are taken up, the bile pigments will convert all of them. Then the bile salts are created, and the bile salts, chenodioxycholic acid, cholic acid, are all secreted into the hepatobiliary system, which will drain through the hepatic ducts into the right and the left hepatic ducts, into the common hepatic duct and into the common bile duct, some of which will be stored in the liver. Some of the bile salts will be stored in the gallbladder, and then they will be squeezed out to join the common hepatic duct and come out into the intestine. Okay, and back all this bile salts will be used in the emulsification of fats. They will be, you cannot dissolve fats, so what you will do is you will emulsify. You will make the fats into smaller pieces, small particles in solution, and they will all be in the intestine and then absorbed back from the ileum into the circulation. So they will go to the liver by the circulation, come out of the liver through the hepatobiliary tracts into the intestine, and then back again. This is called the enterohepatic circulation of bile salts. Okay, Now, the other functions of the liver. The liver, if you take the red blood cells, there are so many red blood cells in our body, they can live up to 120 days. These red blood cells contain hemoglobin. This hemoglobin absorbs the oxygen in the lungs, the capillaries in the lungs. It absorbs the oxygen, takes it to different parts of the body, takes it to different cells in the body, gives up the oxygen, takes up the carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide is transported back to the heart, from where it goes to the lungs through the pulmonary circulation. The carbon dioxide is given out, oxygen is taken in. This oxygen is taken in by the red blood cells. The red blood cells are able to take up this oxygen because of the hemoglobin. Hemo contains iron. Heme contains iron and bile salts and bile pigments, and globin is a protein. A combination of this is able to absorb the oxygen, give up the oxygen. Okay? So now, the liver, in the liver, the red blood cells, the old red blood cells, which are more than 120 days old, either in the liver or the spleen, they go there and they rupture. Once they rupture, the liver will take up the hemoglobin, break it up into heme and globin. Then the heme moiety is broken up into iron and bilirubin or bile pigments. Not just bilirubin, it can be biliverdin, it can be many other bile pigments. So it takes the iron away from the rest of the bile pigments. Okay, and then the liver takes up the bilirubin and it conjugates it with glucuronic acid. Once it is conjugated, the conjugated bilirubin is excreted in the bile. Okay, it is conjugated with glucuronic acid. Okay, so here is the bilirubin metabolism. On the left side of your screen, you will see fragile red blood cells. They are fragile, means weak. These red blood cells are about 120 days or more than 120 days old. They will free hemoglobin in the plasma, about 6 grams daily. The others, as they go through the liver and as they go through the spleen, will have to go through smaller and smaller vessels, and so they will rupture. Okay, so the heme will go out, the globulin will go out. Now from the heme, I told you, the iron will be taken out and the bile pigment will be taken out. And this happens in the hepatocytes. Okay, and then there the bile pigment is conjugated. They will be conjugated and unconjugated in the bile capillary. They will be excreted into the intestine, and there will be circulating free bilirubin also. That bilirubin will combine with from the bilirubin the albumin will be taken off, and so you will have bilirubin and albumin. Now, in certain diseases like what we call sickle cell anemia or hemolytic anemias, these are the hemolytic anemias, are the anemias which are brought about because of the destruction of the white blood cell, the red blood cells. The red blood cells are easily destroyed, and so the amount of iron, the amount of bile pigments all in the blood will pile up, will become a lot, and so the person will look jaundiced, the person will look yellow, the eyes will look yellow, the sclera will be yellow. Wherever you can see the mucous membranes, you can see that it's yellow. Even the skin may appear yellow. But in this case, all the bilirubin will be unconjugated because it has not yet gone to the liver to combine with glucuronic acid. It has just, the red blood cells are broken in the blood vessels itself. That is called hemolytic anemia. Then in hepatotoxic jaundice, in hemolytic anemia, it is called hemolytic jaundice. Okay, because the destruction of the red blood cells is so much, there is a lot of free floating bile pigments, and they are all unconjugated bile pigments. Then in another kind of jaundice, because of hepatitis A, because of hepatitis B, because of hepatic liver disease, because of other problems in the liver, the blood is broken up in the liver, and there the bile pigments are conjugated with glucuronic acid, and so that will be in excess in the blood, and so that occurs in hepatotoxic jaundice, where the bilirubin is conjugated bilirubin. Majority of the bilirubin is conjugated or direct. Then after it has gone through the liver, while going out into the into the biliary radicals, into the hepatic ducts, and into the right and left hepatic ducts, if there is an obstruction along the way there also bilirubin can build up, and because of that there is a buildup of bilirubin in the blood also, and so because of that obstruction you will get obstructive jaundice, where again it will be lot of conjugated, because the blood the bilirubin the bile pigments are already conjugated, so you will get a lot of conjugated conjugated bilirubin in the blood. But one of the things that you can differentiate between obstructive and hepatotoxic jaundice by the presence of 5-nucleotidase and alkaline phosphatase in the blood. Okay, so let's not go into that right now. So the enterohepatic circulation of the bilirubin is seen here. Okay, the bilirubin will go into the blood, into the intestine, and it will be absorbed from the intestine into the body. It will go to the bone marrow, where it will be used to fuse with the iron, and it will be used to fuse with globulin to become hemoglobin, and hemoglobin will be used in the manufacture of red blood cells. The red blood cells will circulate for about 120 days, then they will go to the liver and get destroyed, and when they are destroyed they will be broken up into heme and globulin, and the heme will be broken up into iron and bile pigments again. So this is the circulation of the bile pigments. Now some bile pigments will get excreted because there will be too much in the intestine. Some will get excreted, and so what comes out in the feces is called stercobilinogen and stercobilin. They are converted by colonic bacteria. In the blood, if it is excreted by the urine, it will be called urobilinogen and urobilin. Okay. Now we will come. I spoke about the portal circulation. It is a vascular system that begins and ends in capillary beds with no pumping mechanism in between. That is called a portal circulation. Okay, from capillaries to capillaries there will be no pump. The pump is the heart. Okay, the blood from the veins, from the capillaries, will go into the veins. From these veins it will go into another set of capillaries. So suppose you take blood from the legs or the hands or the brain or the kidneys, it will go from capillaries, it will go into the veins, and from the veins it will go directly into the inferior vena cava, superior vena cava, to the heart, and there is a pump which pumps the blood to the lungs, and in the lungs it will go to a set of capillaries. From there it will go back to the heart and it will get pumped to the rest of the body. So here you have the right side of the heart and the left side of the heart pumping the blood. But in a portal circulation, the vascular system is such that, say, from the intestines, the arteries take the blood to the intestine. There, the blood in the intestine exchanges in the capillaries with the food materials, digested food materials, absorbed food materials, and it takes them from the capillaries into the venous system, and it goes from there not to a pump, not to the heart, but it goes to the liver. And from the liver, it goes to a set of capillaries, goes out, then goes back into another set of venous capillaries, and then it goes through the hepatic vein to the inferior vena cava, from where it will go to the heart, which is a pump. Okay, so between the capillaries in the intestines and the capillaries in the liver, there is no pump. Not having a pump between two sets of capillaries, it is called a portal circulation. So here this is called the hepatic portal circulation. There are other portal circulations as well. Here is the basic scheme of the hepatic portal system. Here the venous blood, see the arterial blood on the left side. The arteries take the blood to nourish the stomach and the intestines. For the cells of the stomach and the intestines, they have to live, they need the oxygen and all that. So that is given into the capillaries of the intestine. From the capillaries of the intestine, it goes through into the veins, into the venules, to the hepatic portal system, and it goes to the capillaries in the liver. And notice there is no heart in between, there is no pump in between. So this is called a portal vein. It is called a portal system. From there, it goes into the hepatic vein. The nutrients and the toxins leave the capillary system, and then it goes into the hepatic vein, and the hepatic vein goes to the venous blood, which will go to the right side of the heart, where it will be pumped. So here between these two set of capillaries, there is no pump, there is only a hepatic portal vein. Okay, there are 3 known portal systems, 2 in mammals, and in other animals there are 3. Now, the hepatic portal system involving the liver, which I have just described. Then the hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system, that is from the pituitary to the hypothalamus. The veins in the pituitary will take the blood from the pituitary to the hypothalamus in the brain. And the hypothalamus is just below the thalamus but above the pituitary. It's a very short portal circulation, but there also there are capillaries. So the blood goes twice through capillaries before it goes back into the systemic circulation. From the hypothalamus it will go into the venous sinusoids, and from the venous sinusoids it will go into the jugular veins, and from there into the superior vena cava, and then to the heart. These are the 2 portal systems that are present in us. In amphibians like the frog, you will have the renal portal system, where the blood is taken from the capillaries of the glomerulus to the peritubular capillaries. Okay, capillaries to capillaries. Okay, excuse me, just a minute. Right. So here again, I'm giving you different pictures, different ways of presenting the same things. In the right hand lower corners, you will see all the vessels from the stomach, pancreas, portions of the large intestine, large intestine, and also the entire small intestine. So those will go through. Those will form the tributaries from the. They will go into the splenic vein. Okay, the inferior mesenteric vein, which takes blood from portions of the large intestine, will flow into the splenic vein. And so the splenic veins take the blood to the hepatic portal system. The superior mesenteric vein, that is, it takes blood from the small intestine, from the second part of the duodenum, right up to part of the large intestine, which is from the midgut. The superior mesenteric vein takes all the blood. The superior mesenteric vein drains the midgut. It will take it directly into the hepatic portal system. The celiac, there is no celiac vein, but all the foregut vessels will go into the splenic, drain into the splenic vein. The hindgut, that is the hindgut vessels, that is the large intestine, part of the large intestine, all drains into the inferior mesenteric vein. The inferior mesenteric vein will go and join the splenic vein, and together they will drain along with the superior mesenteric vein into the hepatic portal vein. The hepatic portal vein will take the venous blood to the liver. From the liver, the hepatic portal vein will drain into the hepatic veins. Will go all over the liver, and then from there all the blood will drain into the hepatic veins, and then it will go into the inferior vena cava, and it will go into the heart. From there it will come out through the aorta. from there it will go to the lungs. From the lungs it will go to the back to the heart. From the heart again, from the left side of the heart, from the left ventricle, it will come into the aorta. It will go into the hepatic artery. The hepatic artery will supply oxygenated blood to the liver for the survival of the liver cells, to nourish the liver. It is not for the liver function, but it is to nourish the liver, to make the liver cells live. So it will take the nutrients, that is glucose and everything, plus the oxygen and all that, to the hepatocytes, and they will function to detoxify all the materials brought in by the portal circulation, and all this blood will drain from the capillaries for the cells, liver cells, and from those capillaries will drain into the hepatic vein. It will drain into the hepatic vein along with all the blood that has come from the hepatic portal vein. So the liver is a very, very vascular organ. It gets blood both for its nourishment as well as for the work that it has to do for the blood. Okay. Again, similarly, this is what I described. There is the hepatic artery, the hepatic, then the vessels that supply the intestine to the digestive tract, that is the celiac artery, which supplies the foregut, the superior mesenteric artery, which supplies the midgut, the inferior mesenteric artery, which supplies the hindgut. All that goes, and in there there are the capillaries in the gut, and from the capillaries in the gut the blood goes through the superior mesenteric vein, the inferior mesenteric vein, and the splenic vein, and they all drain into the liver. From the liver, the arterial supply to the liver and the portal venous supply to the liver mixes up and then drains into the venous supply of the liver, which is the hepatic vein, and then that goes into the inferior vena cava. So this is the circulation. The circulation is shown here. Okay, both the systemic and the portal circulation. Okay, you need to know this. I am showing you the pictures again here. This is it shows the the superior mesenteric vein coming separately, the inferior mesenteric vein and the veins of the foregut joining together to form the splenic vein. The splenic vein and the superior mesenteric vein join together to form the hepatic portal vein, and it goes into the liver. Okay, this is a more detailed picture of what I have described to you, and again another picture. If you examine these pictures well, all that I described to you will come into focus. Here again you see they have divided foregut, midgut, hindgut. The veins draining these all drain into the portal system. Okay, and there once they join the portal system, the blood radiates from small venules between the hepatocytes, between the Kupffer cells, between the thing, and then from there, after taking up all the nutrients, after taking up the substances, after taking up the toxic substances, it detoxifies them and helps and lets them flow into the blood, and all the other materials that have to be excreted are taken up by the portal system, by the system into the from there they are all absorbed into the biliary canaliculi, and then they are excreted. Okay. The blood entering the liver through the portal vein is rich in nutrients but may contain toxic substances. Both nutrients and toxic substances will be regulated by the liver. The nutrients are taken up and stored or modified chemically and used by other parts of the body. Toxic substances are broken down by the hepatocytes or are made water soluble. They dissolve in the water and they are transported by the blood and later excreted by the kidneys. This process is called biotransformation. Okay, so the circulation, hepatic portal circulation from the stomach, it will take up toxins like ethanol and all that. Ethanol is nothing but alcohol. And then nutrients and toxins are taken up by the small intestine. From the large intestine, again nutrients and toxins. From the pancreas, insulin, glucagon. From the spleen, breakdown products from the red blood cells. All flow into the hepatic portal circulation. Okay. Here it is the celiac artery and branches. The celiac artery is the artery of the foregut. It supplies part of the esophagus, the stomach, the first and the second parts of the duodenum. Okay. And also the spleen. You can see how it supplies the stomach. It supplies the stomach by two different arteries. One is the the gastric artery, and then it also supplies the liver, the common hepatic artery. Then it supplies the spleen. From the spleen, other arteries, that is the left gastroepiploic artery, will go. From the right, the gastroduodenal artery will supply the right gastroepiploic artery and the spleen, and also there is a pancreaticoduodenal artery. The duodenum, not the spleen, supplies the duodenum through the pancreaticoduodenal artery, and some of the blood will go into the pancreas and some of the blood will go into the duodenum. This is the superior mesenteric artery, which supplies the midgut. It supplies the blood from this artery, that is the superior mesenteric artery, which is the artery of the midgut, supplies the part of the second part of the duodenum, the third and the fourth parts of the duodenum, the jejunum, the ileum, the ascending colon, and part of the transverse colon. The inferior mesenteric artery will supply the left side of the transverse colon, the descending colon, the sigmoid colon, the rectum. Okay. So here you see the inferior mesenteric branches. This is just for sake of completion. The portal venous system, from the spleen, from the pancreas, from all the gut, from the foregut and the hindgut, it will all join together in the splenic vein, and then later on the superior, that is from the midgut, the superior mesenteric vein will drain into the splenic vein to form the portal venous system and enter the liver. From the portal venous system, it will go into the capillary sinusoids in the liver, and they will be taken into the hepatic vein and then into the systemic circulation. Okay, so here it is, what I have just described again in a more clearer picture. Okay, so then you can see that the hepatic veins all drain into the superior vena cava. Into the inferior vena cava, and then they go to the heart. Inferior vena cava. Here is a detailed anatomy of how the liver is divided. The liver is divided into 12 segments, and all these segments, the liver is divided into 8 segments, and all these segments take the blood to the they all drain into the hepatic veins, which will drain into the inferior vena cava. Okay, so that was the anatomy of the hepatoportal system. Another day we will deal with the functions of the liver, we'll deal with jaundice, and after that we will deal with the rest of the gastrointestinal tract as well. Thank you.